Shalom, shalom. Welcome to another video. But before I get started, I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders, and all the teachers of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace and salutation to the men who's pushing this word throughout the four corners of the earth. To the men who's on the highways and the byways, teaching, preaching, prophesying, crying aloud, week in and week out. I want to say shalom. And to the Aquath out there who's just sitting back, paying attention, listening, and learning in silence, to you I say shalom. Today, I wanted to get into a lesson, and I want to title this one, Never Trust Thine Enemy. And I'm just going to do this video based on the current selected, because this guy was not elected, the current selected Prime Minister of Canada, because everybody's, they're just going goo goo gaga over this man, thinking that this man came, to bring peace. But this man didn't come here to bring peace, right? Now, but without further ado, let's go. Right. Check this out.
To listen carefully to the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
I think it is extraordinary that Mark Carney has become the Prime Minister of Canada. He did a terrible job in Britain of the governorship of the Bank of England. He created a lot of the problems that blew up on my watch and that I got blamed for were actually created by him. He backed Labour in the election and Rachel Reeves's policies, which are leading the country to bankruptcy. So why on earth the Liberal Party of Canada has selected this man, I have no idea. And I think it is illegitimate that this guy has never been elected as a member of parliament in Canada.
It's almost like she's trying to warn us or something, right? Should we listen or should we just ignore and pretend she didn't say those things? Like, this is the Prime Minister where he worked under her watch. She's literally saying these things. Is that not concerning?
All right. Now, let's jump into some precepts just to, show you why you shouldn't trust these people, right? Now, the first precept I want to get into is Deuteronomy 17 and verse 15. It says, "Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord Yahweh, thy power, shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brethren." Right? Now, this is what the Most High is saying. Like, if this man is not your brethren, if he's not of your kind, if he's not an Israelite, don't vote for him. Don't set him as king over you. Now, we're living in modern day times where these kings, these rulers, these princes, these prime ministers, choosing them, it has nothing to do with us. We don't really give a shit about them, right? But their people are going to vote them into power, and they are going to end up ruling over us, right? Now, let's jump into another precept. This is Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so his wickedness," right? So remember, we don't know nothing about this guy. This guy just popped up out of the blues as a selected prime minister, not an elected prime minister, but a selected prime minister. Now, I want to just show you something. Let me show you this. Who is this guy right here?
Nous avons renforcé nos relations en matière de sécurité avec la France. Everyone, bonjour tout le monde. 2 months ago, I was at a rink in Edmonton where I'd learned to play hockey. And that's about as far as you can get from the grandeur of Rideau Hall. And I was there because I was putting up my hand to run for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada. And I was doing that because I knew our country needed to take action. We needed to act to fix our economy. We needed to act to fight the Americans. We needed to act to deal with Donald Trump's tariffs. Il y a 9 jours.
So he came in with the pretense, pretending like he's pretty much going to fight the Americans, to fight against Donald Trump. This is why he was selected. That's how he's coming. So when you read Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse 11, it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. So even though he come under this pretense, like he's going to save Canada, like he's going to save the Canadians, we know that is not what his end goal is. Now, I want to also just get into something else real quick. Let me just get this. 1 second. Now, this is just a brief bio of this guy. It says Mark Carney is a Canadian economist and politician. Now, this guy wasn't a politician until 2 months ago. He was always an elite banker, a central banker. Like, he has nothing to do with politics, right? It says Mark Carney is a Canadian economist and politician who became the 24th Prime Minister of Canada on March 14, 2025. Now, you have never been a politician, never ever been a politician, but now you are considered the 24th Prime Minister of Canada because you was selected, because the previous Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, resigned. He got to take his place, but he has never been a politician before. So it is evident that this guy is a plant, right? It says Minister of Canada on March 14, 2024. He became the Prime Minister of Canada. Following his election, now, like we said, this guy was not elected. He was selected, right? It says following his election as a leader of the Liberal Party on March 9, 2025, right? Now, it's just giving me his bio, where he was born and what he did and what school he went to, right? Now, he worked for Goldman Sachs, an American company, spent over a decade in investment banking. So we know this guy is all about the dollars, right? All about the money. Let's see where this is going. Bank of Canada, 2008. He was appointed governor of the Bank of Canada. Bank of England, 2013 to 2020, right? Remember, these elite bankers are all located in Europe, in England, right? Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. This is where they are, where they reside, right? And he was the governor of the Bank of England. That means this guy is in with the super elites. Let's continue, right? Carney entered Canadian politics in 2025. Now, as we said, he entered politics in 2025. So he was not a politician before, right? Now, 1 second. I want to get something else for you. Damn, this is not coming up. One second. All right. Let's see what this gives me now. Now, it says Mark Carney has been closely associated with the W Economic Forum, the WEF. So we know this guy's a central banker and he is in bed with the WEF. he has spoken at multiple WEF events, particularly on topics related to climate change, sustainable energy. Of course, we know this: sustainable energy, sustainable finance, and global economics. He served as United Nations Special Envoy on Climate Action and Finance. So this guy is deep in bed with these non-governmental agencies who wants to change the world, who's working for a new world order, right? So we know what this guy stands for. Let's get back into the precept. Now it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, grab that in right here. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt not be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. So when you take a good look at this guy, like the people of Canada, they're not really looking at this guy properly, right? They're looking at him as a savior, like he's going to come save us from DJ Trump. This is how they're looking at him. But if they actually take a good look at him, which is what this is saying, take a good look at him, you can actually see that his wickedness sits deep within his soul, sits deep within him. You can see it. Now let's get the next precept. This is verse 12. It says, set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou hast at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. So pretty much this verse 12 is going into us setting this man over us, right? Because of course, this is what happened with the Native Americans when Esau Edom came. You know, they put him up, give him a place to stay, a place to live, you know, teach him how to do certain things. And then what he did, he overthrew them, took their place, started calling themselves Native Americans, started calling themselves Hebrew Israelites, right? Actually start calling themselves Jewish. Correction, right? Now let's go into Psalms 55 and verse 21. So this is Psalms 55 and verse 21. It reads, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Now I'm going to break this down for you. It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. So he comes to you pretending like he's going to save Canada from the Americans. He's going to save Canada from DJ Trump. He's going to save the Canadians from the tariffs, from the high taxation, from the inflation. This is what he's doing. So his words were smoother than butter. So all these people now trust him because of his smooth words, right? Let's continue. But war was in his heart. Yes, war was in this man's heart. Why was war in his heart? All right. So war was in his heart because he's corrupt, because he's connected to what? The WEF. Right? He's connected to the WEF. He's connected to the United Nations. Like you name it, he's connected. Right? It says this verse pretty much is warning us against the deception. This Psalms 55 and verse 21 is warning us about the deception of these kings, these rulers, these princes, these prime ministers. Right? This verse is warning us against that, showing. It's just showing that these people are not for our sakes. They're for themselves, to fill their belly, to fulfill their will, not your will, to not make you happy. No, it's all about them, right? Now, let me jump into another precept. This is Deuteronomy 28, and I'm going to read 49 and I think 50. All right, it says, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle fleeth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Right? So when these these Edomites, these modern day Romans came, we didn't understand what they were speaking. They were speaking some foolishness, man. They were speaking some language that we couldn't understand, right? But they said that the natives are the people of this land. They were speaking foolishness. They were speaking a language that they couldn't understand. Say that they called it garbage. So they forced the people over here to learn their language. Let's continue. A nation of fierce continents, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And we see this happen because they killed the people here, right? The natives. They pretty much did them dirty, right? But if you use this precept today, we see what happens with these people. They take away these people's social security, right? They take away all their benefits, their Medicaid. They take away everything from them, their health care. Pretty much they're not caring for the old anymore. And for the young, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit no more. They are literally taking away everything from the people. It's about the rich and the poor. There's no more middle class. About the rich and the poor. So these Romans, these Babylonians, they came and they destroyed the people of this place, the people of the land, the people of Canada, America, New Zealand, all of these other countries, right? And we see it with this guy, we see it with DJ Trump, we see it in Britain, we see it in Australia, in New Zealand. Like, just look around the world, you see it, right? Let's continue with the precepts. All right. This is Proverbs 26, and I'm going to start at verse 24. It says, he that hateth dissembleth with his lips, and layeth up deceit with him. Right? I want to see if I can get the terminology, the meaning of that word, dissembleth, in the blue letter. Nakar.
Strong's H 5234. Nacher. Nacher.
Yes. Says to recognize, acknowledge, know, respect, discern, regard. All right, let's go back into that word. (24, 25, 26). It says, he that hateth dissembleth with his lips, and layeth up deceit with him. Right? It says, when he speaketh fear, leave him not, which we saw this guy just did. Right? For there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit. Right? So he tricks you into thinking that he's going to do for you when he's not going to do for you. Because I can, if this guy becomes Prime Minister of Canada, this is where you know the MOTB is going to be pushed forth at a faster pace. Because number one, he's a part of the WEF, the United Nations, and all of these non-governmental organizations, man. Right? Let me get that in the NLT. I already have it preset. 24. It says, people may cover their hatred with pleasant words. Right? His pleasant words is Donald Trump. He needs to stop him. He needs to do this about Donald Trump. Like, he's using Donald Trump as a why, as a reason for him to come into power, because he's the one who's going to stop DJ Trump. And we know the Canadians at this point, they don't like DJ Trump, right? So he's coming in as a savior. It says they pretend to be kind. Sorry, let me read it again. People may cover their hatred with pleasant words. We see that, but they're deceiving you, right? Can't deceive us, but we can see right through you, right? They pretend to be kind, which we see this guy is all words right now, but don't believe them. Their hearts are full of many evils. And these are precepts that the Most High is telling us, right? And we, the Israelites, are privy to these information, because you have 99% of Canadians, they don't understand what's going on. They don't see what's going on. But these things are prophesied in the Holy Bible, right? It's that they pretend to be kind, but don't believe them. Their hearts are full of many evils. Verse 26, while their hatred may be concealed by trickery, right? We see this, their wrongdoing will be exposed in public, right? So eventually the truth is going to come out. But guess what? Eventually, when the truth comes out, it's probably going to be too late for these people, because they already elected this man, right? But it's okay. The faster these people go into power, set up their system, the faster we get out of here, man. Right? I think I have another precept here. Let me prep that real quick. One second. Yeah, I think this is it. Lamentation 4:17. Let me try that. Lamentation 4:17. Get in the KJV. See what one. Lamentation 4:17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. They hurt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecution are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursue us from mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. And these elites, these leaders, right? And these are traps that they set for the Israelites, right? Because the Israelites are who they want to get rid of, because they know the promise is for us, right? So they sit back and they persecute the children of Israel, right? This is why it says our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. Like I said, this is speaking about Esau, Edom, right? They pursue us upon the mountains. So they pursue us upon the mountains. So these leaders, these top elite bankers who know that we are the chosen people, who have stolen the identity of the chosen people, right? They pursue us. They're the ones who's pursuing us, but they're not the ones who's actually on the ground doing the footwork. They send this guy, Mark Carney, after us, DJ Trump after us. You know what I'm saying? Justin Trudeau. They send these leaders after us, right? It says they laid wait for us in the wilderness, right? So we know that these people are the devil. We know that these people are the wicked. And this is the reason why the Most High told us, never trust thine enemy, right? And don't think that these people are the only enemies we have. 2/3 of our people are our enemies as well, because 2/3 of our people are not living by the gospel. They're not living by the laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai, right? And best believe that the heathen nation, whether that be Moab, Amalek, the Ishmaelites, the Jebusites, all of these nations, Psalms 83. Let me grab that. Psalms 83. Let's check these nations just to see. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. And when you look at their round table talk, who do you see? You see Edomites, you see Ishmaelites, you see the Moab, the Ammon. You see all of these nations, the Elamites, all of these nations are there consulting together, right? Against who? Against the children of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai himself, right? It says the tabernacles of Edom. Now, Edom is actually at the forefront of this wickedness, right? Starting with Amalek, which is the grandson, right? So you have the tabernacles of Edom, Amalek, right? Like I said, the grandson. And then you have the Ishmaelites, which are the Arabs, the Moabites, which are the Chinese, the Agarenes, which are the Africans, Gebal, Africans, Ammon, Japanese, Amalek. Amalek there is actually the grandson of Esau, Edom, right? The Philistines, right? These, people in the land right now, with the inhabitants of Tyre, Asher also is joined unto them. So all these nations are the enemies of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai and his people. So all these people are plotting against you. So when you see them come crouching, as it says in Ecclesiasticus 12:11, you see them coming crouching, don't trust them. Don't trust them, right? They're coming with pure wickedness in their hearts, right? They're coming with deception. Okay? And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Makakodash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders, and all the teachers of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace and salutation to the elect. Shalom.